welcome to another one of my crazy projects. This is my latest project here in the living room. It is our base LED molding installation. My wife hates base molding, I love LEDs, and we decided to go with something kind of kooky. So I went with a Wled controller that's in a power supply that's all housed right here in this birdhouse. So there's a little birdhouse, there are holes, all the holes are actually vented. There's a window here, and there's another window up here. So this way it gets lots of ventilation because inside there is the power supply. And the power supply is a 12 volt. This is a 12 volt system. And I also have a DigQuad for the Wled controller. If you're thinking about building your own, because I know these run about 50 bucks, just buy this if you're not an electrical engineer or something like that, because this is absolutely worth it. Not only is this a Wled controller, it's also your pretty much your full power distribution there, and that's what I have all these lines hooked up for. This system is running two different data lines. So there's one data line around the dining room table, and then there is another data line running around the living room area. So it does come down behind this branch, all the wires and the injection ports, and then it goes in through here, and then half the wires go behind my fireplace, and they come out over here in this corner, and you can kind of see the wire through the shadow a little bit. You got to hide them a little bit better, but then the line starts here and goes all the way around, and then the two ends, one ends right here, the other one ends here, and then there's an injection port at both ends because they do require it past 5 meters. Altogether, we're just under 20 meters of LED between everything. These TM1814s take about 18 watts per meter, and there's, times the 5 meters per roll, and then times 4, that comes out to just about 360 watts, and that is exactly what this power supply is for. This power supply is rated for 360, but there is an extra line here that I did install that's not being used, that's going down and around. The wires actually, I did not finish this, but the wires, I did rip the molding off to fit the wires inside here. I do have the moldings right here, got to get painted and primed. And the wire goes right here, and it goes into the wall as shown. And then what we're going to do is right here where my hand is, right where these blocks are, we're going to be kind of doing like a built-in bookshelf as shown, sort of like a little 3D rendering or Photoshop I did here to show that. Okay, so again, that's basically the controller. Again, I highly recommend these guys. These are freaking excellent. They come with the latest installations. You just hook up the power, program it, hook up your power to your LEDs then, and your data lines, which are in the middle there. And then I have a little antenna because this thing is Wi-Fi. I do use the app. My wife even has the app, and she's been playing around with it, and she absolutely loves it. She gave me the idea to do a birdhouse because I was going to get one of these things on Amazon, and I was going to put it kind of down low. And she's like, you know what? Why don't you just do a birdhouse? You've been wanting to build one. So gave me a good reason to build this very unique birdhouse. So I am going to put little fans, I think, on the back here, little 12 volt ones, because again, I do have plenty of 12 volt rails right there. So that's just going to go ahead and just stays like that. Okay, so after I showed you the system, as I mentioned, I picked the TM1814 LED strip. This is pretty much all I have left over, along with that little strip there and this little strip here. The reason I picked these is because it does have a dedicated white channel, so they are technically an RGB and then W. So this way you get a nice clean white, kind of like this. And that's kind of what I would really wanted, but also have the flexibility of doing all of the colors. The TM18 only comes in a 3 per IC kind of configuration, so that means one controller manages 3 LEDs. So again, here at the end, you have the one controller and then those 3 LEDs, and then there's a tab. So these 3 LEDs are always going to be the same color. So it does look a little blocky. It's not as precise as having each individual LED controllable, but it does get the job done and it looks really, really nice. These are the channels that I purchased. I did buy a bundle as shown here. I did get a whole bunch of them. I did pick these out because they're very, very large. They're almost about 1.5 inches by about 1.5 inches. They came with end caps and clips, but I didn't actually use the clips to install them. What I did is I basically flipped it over, put adhesive silicone on the top and bottom, pushed it against the wall and the floor, and then drilled holes like shown, and basically just screwed it in gently, not to deform the back, so this way when the diffuser goes on, it goes on pretty well. I did have a friend come by and we cut all 45-degree angles everywhere to do around the corners and around the bends and things like that, and even for the straight edges, they were actually cut in 45-degree, so it's the opposite of this. But they were cut 45 degrees, so you can't really see them at most angles. You can't see the actual cut on longer runs. My original plan was to run wires inside here, but that absolutely did not work. Since these are so big, I was able to run the injection wires along the bottom like so, and then as you can see circled, that's just hot glue, just holding them down every 8 to 10 inches. And then along the top, I did run that second wire for that bookshelf. That's going to also have LED lighting inside of it, hopefully. And as you can see, I just kind of kept it to the top, and it kind of hides it for the most part. I do need to touch up a few spots, but these are really, really good for larger projects. They are bigger, they make a bigger light. You can have almost 2 rows too. This thing is so wide, you can really stick like a row down here and a row up here if you really wanted to. I do highly recommend these if you're doing something like what I am. Don't go with something smaller. This is definitely the way to go. All right. So I do want to leave you with an outro of what these LEDs can do with the WLED. I did just buy this guy, so this is gonna, maybe I'll do an update later on, but I did buy a digital microphone. That's what that thingy is there. So this way I can put that just outside the birdhouse, and it will have basically radio or audio activity. So, or like it'll be audio active, so it can listen to sounds and then kind of adjust the lights to that, brightness and sound and colors and things like that. So this is the one that DigiUno recommends. It's only like $7. Just got to wire it in, pin it up, and then just basically go into the controller and configure it. That's it. And like I said, I want to leave you with an outro on some of the really cool effects this setup can do.